You can tell me anything.
It's just...
Are you sure you want to tell me?
No. I don't know. Maybe.
Hmm?
I just wonder, have I been useful at all? What have I really done?
That scene is what really made me fall in love with this game, Harold Halibut. This game has so much charm and so much heart that when I was trying to think about just a singular moment, it was quite the challenge. But I believe the scene really distills our character's plight down to that one question and resonated with me on a personal level. But let's back up. How did Harold discover this? Harold Halibut is a game developed by clone-based studio Slowbros. The game's scenes primarily take place on the Fedora 1, a spaceship that's been on a voyage for a new home for over 250 years, and has, for the last 50 years, been stranded on an aquatic planet. At first, we follow the titular character through his day-to-day activities, helping others with cleaning filters, sending messages, and fixing equipment. All the while, we learn more about the quirky characters on the ship and their problems. Whether it's the brilliant but cantankerous Professor Jean Moreau and her feud of wits with her former but just as brilliant lab partner Cyrus, or the heart-haunted shop owner Tommy who fears his wife Bridget is stepping out on their relationship, with the puppet former Fabio, Chris. Harold listens and tries to help them in any way that he can. Harold does get roped into also assisting in figuring out how to get the ship and its crew off this planet, as well as figuring out the shady dealings of the corporation running the ship, Allwater. Against this backdrop, Harold finds his inciting incident literally dropped into his world. Harold discovers this creature, which he initially named Fishy, and brings him to Professor Moreau's lab. The two initially keep this conundrum to themselves while they try and figure out a way to revive Fishy.
You see, Fishy? I'm okay, aren't I? You're a good listener. Maybe that's why. I wonder if you can hear me. Not that you'd understand me. Maybe the sound of my voice is calming.
This section of the game allows Harold to drop some exposition about himself without it seeming too out of the norm of good dialogue, as he takes this opportunity to try and talk to the unconscious Fishy.
Do I miss her? No, not really, but, we had some good times. She taught me a few things. Oh, about life and stuff, I guess, and what culture is.
It's a sad moment as you realize no one ever really checks in on Harold. People are always asking him to do things, but never take the time to see how Harold is. Talking to Fishy does have a silver lining. It gives Harold the courage to talk to his ex Sunny, as she is the purveyor of various tinctures and remedies that might help Fishy. Initially, he complains to Fishy about Sunny, but keeps going to make sure he can treat his newfound aquatic companion. His persistence is eventually rewarded as Fishy, which we come to find out is actually called Weeoo, awakens. Harold takes the opportunity, with a little help from Professor Moreau's conveniently available translation contraptions, to be Weeoo's guide into the Fedora and human society. I found it hilarious that the most simple man on the ship becomes the ambassador of our species. Maybe that was the best way to try and simplify things for a newly discovered sentient life with their own beliefs. Harold does his best to untangle the mess that is human society. But it really isn't until Harold does ask that question in the final quarter of the game that he has this moment of clarity. What has he done? Or more specifically, what has he done for himself? It's a moment that really took me by surprise because it also became a revelation for myself. When we take a moment to reflect on the things we've done in our lives, have we taken care of ourselves? Has Harold put his best self out there? Does he feel content with his life? Harold's world was turned upside down when he rescues Weeoo from the filtration system. He learns more about Weeoo's life as a phylum in the society that doesn't ask more of anyone, but just welcomes all with open arms. Based purely on the quality of the script, when Harold asked the question, it felt like I finally saw the moment Harold is ready to do what's best for himself. And when it all plays out, it was satisfying to see Harold make that choice. Surely he could have stayed on the Fedora 1 and what he was familiar with, but he chose his happiness and stayed with Weeoo. Later on in that same scene, Harold does come to another interesting point.
Unless, maybe the whole point of not being sure is that it keeps your options open. If we were sure about everything straight away, we'd never change our minds.
No, We would just be a fish swimming in one direction, following the current, happy, but probably missing out on most of the ocean. That's Lugalugalogal.
I see now. So, true Brugalugalo is being happy within uncertainty.
Oh. I didn't think of it like that before, but I like it.
Happiness with uncertainty. The idea of being content and feeling joy even when you can't control or don't know much about your surroundings. In a way, you could say Harold finally becomes comfortable with who he is and what his purpose is. And that's just being Harold. Thank you so much for watching. This video took an embarrassing amount of time to make, and I appreciate you sticking with me. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on this game with my co-host Tom, check out our podcast episode where we dive deep into the story elements of Harold Halibut.